Hola, vamos a aprender sobre lección 5, sustantivos y artículos. And so a few basics. A sustantivo is the word noun, and a noun is a persona, lugar, cosa o idea, or person, place, thing, or idea. Same definition as we have in English, and that's going to be true for most of the grammar terms. However, we've got a little different component called género, or gender. So in Spanish, every noun has a specific gender. Most of the time, this has absolutely nothing to do with whether the item is associated with feminine use or masculine use. For example, el vestido, the word dress, is a masculine noun, and la guerra, the word for war, is a feminine noun. There's an exception to this, however. Nouns that are used to directly talk about a person as a person tend to match with the gender of that person, such as la mujer is the word woman, and it is a feminine noun, and la chica, which means girl, is a feminine noun as well. Same with el hombre, meaning man, it's a masculine noun, and el chico, the word boy, is a masculine noun as well. However, for the most part, gender in Spanish is simply a grammatical thing and not a gender thing like we think about gender. And in fact, English is, I don't know if I'd say an exception to a rule, but many languages do have a gender component, especially a lot of romantic languages off of Latin. So how do you determine noun gender? So there are no strict rules to establishing gender in Spanish. One hint, though, is to memorize the el and the la with Spanish nouns. These are called the definite articles, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. You'll see when you look in our vocab sheets that all the nouns have an el or la in front of them. This will be used to indicate if it's a masculine or a feminine noun. There are some good rule of thumb guidelines. Rule of thumb, they're usually pretty good rules, but there are exceptions. But these do tend to reveal the gender of the noun if you don't happen to remember. So there are a few masculine noun endings that nouns might have that indicate masculine. Most common would be the O, English O, as in el chico. You could also get an or, as in el conductor. Ma, and M-A, English M-A, as in el programa. And the S, when it's not a plural now, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, such as el autobús. There are also some feminine noun endings, rule of thumb endings. The English A is in la chica, hora, la conductora, for example. Sion, C-I-O-N, la conversación. And dad, la comunidad. Then there is one that kind of doesn't have a place on either list, but it is an ending that does tell you something about a noun, and that is the ista ending. And this, if a noun ends with ista, that noun will depend, the gender of that noun will depend on the person's gender. So ista nouns typically are the name of a person, and this would be one of those instances where we do fall back on our understanding of gender because it's a noun talking specifically about a person as a person. So for example, el or la turista, turista is the word tourist, and it's going to be el turista masculine if it's talking about a guy tourist, and la turista if it's a feminine noun, if it's talking about a lady tourist. All right, número de sustantivos, the number of a noun. So all nouns have a number. Simply put, they're either singular or plural. We have this in English as well. So to make a noun plural in Spanish, if the noun ends in a vowel, add an S to the end, such as el chico becomes los chicos. Ignore the los for now, just focus on the chico to chicos, and amiga to amigas. Now if it ends in a consonant, you're going to add in English ES to the end. So profesor becomes profesores. La comunidad becomes las comunidades. If a noun ends with a Z, change the Z to a C and then add ES. So for example, lápiz becomes lápices, changing that Z to a C. So there is an accenting rule. Generally, a singular noun with an accent on the last syllable will lose the accent when in the plural. For example, autobus becomes autobuses, no accent. And you could actually see there, if you paid attention to the general natural rules, with autobus with the accent, naturally it would be on the O, autobus. However, they didn't want it there, so they had to write a written accent over the English U. Now, when we make it plural, ends with an N or S or vowel, second to last syllable, it naturally falls on the U, so they don't need that written accent anymore. La lección becomes las lecciones. There you lose the accent again, that CION ending, rule of thumb ending for the feminine, we'll always lose it in the plural. Now, when we're talking about groups of people, so a plural group of people, you're going to use the masculine plural when referring to a group that includes both males and females. So remember, when we're talking about people as people, we will think of gender as we're used to guys and girls. However, they will use the masculine plural to cover a group that is a mixed. They'll use the feminine to cover a group of all girls. If it's a group of all girls, it'll be feminine. Group of guys and girls, you'll reference it in the masculine. And if it's a group of all guys, it would be masculine. This might seem sexist, but it is not. It's just part of their grammar. And we even do this somewhat in English as well. All right, artículos. So articles. Oh yeah, if you're feeling a little like that right now, it's okay. If your brain hurts, that'll be all right. You'll make it. All right. So articles. In English, they are the, a, and, or some. So in Spanish, articles must agree in both gender and number with the noun they come before. You're going to hear that a lot this year, gender and number. So there are two types of articles in Spanish. There's the definite articles and the indefinite articles, and that is also a distinction in English. So here they are, definite articles. In English, it's just the. In English, the indefinite articles are the a, and some. So here are our definite articles, and it kind of looks like a bit of a Punnett square or something like that. But you've got masculine singular is el, feminine singular is la, and that's what you memorize the nouns with in your vocab. Masculine plural is los, feminine plural is las. A few examples of this would be los diccionarios. Diccionario is a masculine noun. That article has to match with that. So diccionarios is plural and masculine, so we go to the plural masculine definite article as well. Los. El lago, masculine singular, lago. And so we use the masculine singular article, the, el lago. Las sillas, the chairs, feminine plural, so you use las. And then you have la ventana. La ventana, you have feminine singular there, so you use la. Here are your indefinite articles. So you have un and una. Those are your feminine and masculine singulars. And then unos and unas. So a few examples. Una nacionalidad, a nationality. Feminine singular. Un mapa, a map. Notice this is the a ending rule of thumb exception. Notice it is a masculine, which is why we have to still memorize them. It's el mapa. No, end with the rule of thumb a ending. Unas profesoras, lo siento. That should be profesoras, not profesores. Profesoras. Let's see. So right here, that should be profesoras with the English A there. That'd be some lady teachers. Then unos profesores, some male teachers. So you've got the definite articles over here. You've got all those would translate to the in English. We can say the book as well as the books. Doesn't change for plural. However, in the indefinite articles, the un and una would be the a or an, and unos and unas would be the some, because in English we can't say a book and a books. The plural indefinite article becomes some. A book, some books. El fin.